In a game that has more possible moves than there are atoms in the known universe, just one move changed everything. It was a move that felt, well, alien, creative, something no human would ever play. That single moment was a signal that a whole new era was dawning.
All right, welcome everyone. Tonight, I want you to settle in because we're premiering a story about massive ambition, mind-bending intellect, and the quest to build a machine that can actually think. Our feature presentation, The Architect of Mind, the Demis Hassabis story.
You know, every great story has an origin, so let's roll it back. Way back. Picture this, a small boy, swimming in an oversized blazer, leaning over a chessboard. Even then, you could say he was already practicing for a much, much bigger game. This, of course, is Demis Hassabis, a child prodigy who picked up chess at just 4 years old and was already thinking 10 moves ahead of everyone else.
So, just how good was he? Well, there's a number for that. 2,300. At only 13 years old, that was his ELO rating. Now, if you're not a chess nerd, let me translate. That is firmly master level. He wasn't just playing for fun. He was captaining England's junior teams, seeing the future unfold on that little 64-square board.
But here's the thing. The chessboard wasn't his only universe. A second obsession was quietly taking over: programming. From the age of 8, he was captivated by that glowing screen, learning how to make silicon think. So you've got these two tracks being laid down side by side, chess and code, and they were on a collision course.
And that brings us to the first act of our story. You know what I'm talking about? The training montage. After blazing through his exams at 16, he dives headfirst into the booming British video game industry, ready to build not just strategies, but entire virtual worlds.
And man, did things move fast. By 17, he's co-designing the massive hit Theme Park. A few years later, in '98, he starts his own studio, Elixir. But by 2005, the studio closes. It was a tough, hard reset that taught him, and he said this himself, brutal lessons about the real world of business. Lessons that would turn out to be absolutely critical. For most people, that would have been the end of the dream, right? But in this story, this is the classic plot point. It's the pivot, the moment our hero finds his real quest. So what was that quest? He trades the wild, chaotic world of making video games for the super structured world of academia. He goes back to school to get a PhD in neuroscience. Why? Because he wanted to understand the ultimate blueprint for intelligence, the human brain itself.
And this is where it all just clicks. He forms this incredibly powerful conviction, really the central theme of his life. If you want to build machines that can think, you absolutely have to understand how our own minds do it first. Games, brains, AI, it all snapped into one single grand vision. So in 2010, DeepMind is born. The mission was simple, but also, completely audacious: build general-purpose learning systems. Their method was the real game changer, though. They decided to teach an AI agent from scratch, with raw experience just like a person learns. And the early proof was kind of spooky. It was an AI that can master old Atari games just by looking at the pixels on the screen. And then, the world started to pay attention. In a big way. In 2014, Google buys DeepMind for a number said to be over $500 million. Okay, so this is no longer just some cool London startup. This is the big leagues now. The stakes just got a whole lot higher.
Which, of course, brings us to the main event, the climax of our film, the showdown that had the entire world holding its breath, the AlphaGo match. Let's set the scene. We're in Seoul, South Korea. It's March 2016. The hall is packed. You've got cameras from everywhere. You can feel the tension in the air. It's electric. And here are our two fighters. In this corner, we have Lee Si-dal, one of the greatest Go players in the history of the game, a true master of human creativity and intuition. And in the other corner, AlphaGo, DeepMind's AI, a master of reinforcement learning, an entity that learned by playing against itself millions and millions of times. This was it, man versus machine, fighting for the soul of what was thought to be the most complex game ever invented. And then, it happened. That moment we talked about at the beginning, Move 37. It was this audacious, totally out-of-left-field play. No human expert saw it coming. It was so creative, so strange, that you could hear gasps in the audience. Lee Si-dal himself had to literally get up and leave the room just to compose himself. The final score was decisive.
4-1. AlphaGo defeated the world champion. A historic line had been crossed. The kid who once mastered chessboards had now built a machine that conquered Go.
But here's the twist ending. For Demis, the story doesn't end there. Winning games was never, ever the real goal. All of that was just the training montage. This brings us to the final act, from games to science. This is where the true mission is revealed. The 2024 Nobel Prize in Chemistry. Hassabis was a co-winner for AlphaFold, a system that used the same fundamental ideas as AlphaGo to solve a 50-year-old grand challenge in biology, predicting how proteins fold into their complex 3D shapes. And the impact of this is it's monumental. AlphaFold mapped out millions of protein structures, and then DeepMind did something amazing. They released all that data for free to the world. It is dramatically speeding up drug discovery and our basic understanding of life itself.
And the ambition doesn't just stop with biology. They're taking this same AI playbook and aiming it at humanity's other massive challenges, everything from designing more efficient fusion reactors to building better models of our climate. This is the bigger game he was always rehearsing for. So let's just quickly recap this incredible character arc. He starts as a chess prodigy, learning to think moves ahead. He becomes a game designer, learning to build whole new worlds. Then he pivots to a neuroscientist, learning how our own minds are wired. All of it leading to his final form, you could say, an AI pioneer, building new minds to solve our oldest problems.
And that brings our story to a close, for now. Demis Hassabis has spent his life bringing these powerful systems into the world, but he himself is often the first to pose a profound and pretty cautionary question, and it's the same one I want to leave you with. As these tools get more and more powerful, are we wise enough to guide them?